Hey everybody, welcome back to another 10-minute Marvel video. I'm Petter, and today I'm going to ask a question that Greg and I actually covered on the podcast a few months ago, maybe half a year ago actually at this point, because it keeps on popping up in the news, in the rumors section, this idea of second seasons of Marvel shows that have already come out. And I want to run through kind of the list and give two different things with the list of Marvel shows. First off, do I want a second season of it? And the other part being, do I think it's likely we're going to get a second season of that show? And I'm just going to stick with the live action shows. I'm not going to do Echo. I know Echo was a Spotlight, which to me says it is intentionally going to be a one season show. They kind of want to use it to introduce and get us to know the character. Echo may show up in future things. I fingers crossed Echo shows up in Daredevil Born Again season 2 or 3 or somewhere down the line, because I love that character and Lockwood Cox does a phenomenal job with it. So I personally would be excited for an Echo season 2. I just don't think that is really going to be on the table for Marvel. So then let's talk other shows. And we're going to go, I was going to say we're going to go in order, but I'm going to try and remember as much as I can and kind of do it in order. Starting off then with WandaVision. So WandaVision, I think there's a 0% chance they're actually going to do a second season. Nor really do I want them to do a second season. I love the first season of WandaVision, but this is like just low all around because it told the story it needed to. It completed that, and we've had the continuation in Agatha all along. We know that the Vision show, maybe called Vision Quest, possibly, is coming out. That's already started filming. So it's getting its sequels, but its sequels are all different shows. Then after that, we have Loki. We already had a second season of Loki. Do I want more seasons of Loki? And how likely is it? Likelihood, I think, is low. They left Loki in a very specific spot. It makes sense for multiversal stories to have done the TVA and this Loki show. But going forward, is there going to be a story to tell there? Sure, it would be fun to see more of Loki, but I'm a little bit hesitant to say we need to bring back that character, at least in a huge way, in a television show. Now, if you gave me a spin-off TVA show, that could be really cool. That could be a lot of fun. But do I need a whole new Loki series or season? No. We got two very good seasons. So I'm cool with where they left it. After that, we have the Falcon and Winter Soldier. I think, again, I can say I'm kind of low on both sides of this. I think there's a low chance they'll do a second season of it. And obviously it would come in with the new name of Captain America and the Winter Soldier. But also, Captain America is a movie. Like we just saw Captain America Brave New World. That's not a character you bring to television, in my opinion. And Sam Wilson, Anthony Mackie, the actor, he doesn't deserve to have it be a television show. Captain America Brave New World is a really fun, solid movie. Greg and I have talked about it on the podcast. Yes, we have some issues with it. But overall, I enjoyed it more than I didn't. And I want to see more of Anthony Mackie on the big screen. So that's my reasoning for setting that one off to the side. Next up, we have Hawkeye. Now, Hawkeye is one that's been rumored to be getting a second season. And I actually did a video on this last week, maybe, I think it was last week, maybe 2 weeks ago, of how Marvel could continue to run this as a multi-season series. And I think this is one where I think there's a fairly high chance we get a second season of it. And I think I'd be interested in it. Now, I'm not super stoked for the idea of a second season of this, just because I thought it was a good one off thing. Do I need to see more Hawkeye? Sure, I'd love to see more Clint Barton. I'd love to see more Kate Bishop. But what story are they going to be telling this time? We had the MacGuffin of the Watch last time, him training Kate. Where are they going to go from here? And the idea that Greg and I spitballed was the newest rumors going to be kind of a die-hard kind of Christmas movie defending against assassins. Okay, that's a good season two. Why not do a season three where Kate Bishop is defending Hawkeye's house against some bad guys who are coming there. Hawkeye is gone away, and Laura gone away, and so she has to protect the kids and make it Home Alone style. Just continue to hit those kind of classic Christmas tropes and create something from it. That sounds fun, but it doesn't get me like super stoked for it. Then we continue along, and I'm going to try not to miss anything in here. We have, actually, it's fairly limited what we have at this point. We have She-Hulk, and this is the one that caused this conversation to happen because there was a rumor that, hey, maybe they're considering another season of She-Hulk. And I'm torn on that because there were certainly episodes of She-Hulk that I liked. I even kind of enjoyed the finale and like how absurd that was out there, especially for that first watch. But subsequent viewing and thinking about it, it's like, that show was just so all over the place. I think that the odds of something like this getting a second season are actually pretty low in terms of Marvel, yet it might be one that I'm slightly more interested in them doing a second season of because I want to see a good show of this. I want to see kind of what they're doing with Daredevil Born Again, but make it more of a lighthearted comedy type thing instead of this dark and gritty. Because do that lawyer comedy, She-Hulk having to like Hulk out on some bad guys, then all of a sudden they show up in court and just have some absurdity ensue. It reminds me, or like what I think of is how on Futurama they had single white female lawyer, I believe was their made up show. Just doing a silly, absurd comedy where she's taking on cases for superpowered individuals, and we got to see some of that. Just give me more of that, and maybe have it all lead to this big case or this big mystery for every season that now she has to use some of her Hulk powers, but for the most part, make it just a courtroom comedy. Give us her dating life comedy in there and just run with it that way. So then I already mentioned Echo. I'm trying to think what else there is live action out there. I'm going to actually spend half a second here and pull that up because I want to make sure that I cover everything. Secret Invasion. Okay. Oh, yeah, I do have a couple. Wow. I missed like 3 in there. So, Secret Invasion. No. Low odds of a second season of that, and don't give me one. That was not a great show. That honestly might be the lowest ranked MCU thing that I've watched. So, yeah, easy pass. Then the 2 I forgot, and I can't believe I forgot both of these. First off is Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel Season 2. I think there's a low chance of it, and I'm okay with there being a low chance of it as long as we get a Champions or Young Avengers show. Because that's really where Miss Marvel has been setting up in the Marvels. We've seen that setup done in a lot of these TV shows, so give us that show. Like, please, please, please don't listen to the haters. This could be a phenomenal show, and it really works well as a show to be your test ground for young and upcoming Avengers characters. Who's going to make that leap to the big screen? Not every character is going to do that. Some of them might only be on the Champions team for a few seasons and fade away. Or they might be a character like, honestly, Miss Marvel is going to be a great example of this. Miss Marvel is, in my opinion, going to be a character who could continue on further and into the movies and the cinematic universe. Iman Vellani is so charismatic that I suspect if more people actually watched the Marvels and had they actually been able to promote the Marvels, that would have done better. And then the final one, looking at the list here, the final one is Moon Knight. And Moon Knight, I think there's a low chance that it gets a second season. That's current rumors of low chance that it gets a second season. They have plans for the character, but not in a season 2. And unfortunately, this is the one where I'm like, I would love a season 2 of this. This is the one I would be the most excited for because of how it ended. We know the different personalities. We know the Scott Grant. We know... No, Alan Grant. Why did I say Scott Grant? Alan Grant. We know the Mark Spector, and now we've been introduced to the Jake Langley. So Jake Langley is that character who's now Moon Knight, the more violent character that Khonshu wanted so that it could have a more violent avatar. And how does that play out? How is it going to play out when those other personalities realize there's a third one? They clearly haven't put that together yet. And while Mark and Alan have reconciled to some extent, how are they going to do that now with this new personality that I don't think is going to want to reconcile? That they left such an open-ended positioning for that show that it feels really bad that we're not going to be getting a season 2. But there we have it, all the live action stuff, not in as good an order as I had hoped. I didn't mention Agatha. I covered that a little bit with WandaVision. They're one-offs. I don't want a second season of Agatha. Why? Because how are we going to tell another story about Agatha all along with that reveal at the end? Same with WandaVision. You told the story. How are you going to tell another story with kind of that reveal towards the end? But let me know in the comment section down below what TV show I should say do you want to get another season of? Just of the live action Marvel stuff, the Disney Plus Marvel stuff. I know that there are probably going to be people with the success that we're seeing of Daredevil Born Again. We're going to be like, let's bring back Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, not Iron Fist. Let's bring back Punisher. But those were done separately. And there has to be a specific plan and kind of a season 1 of it going forward, like we're seeing with Daredevil Born Again. So let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. If you enjoy this content, please give the video a thumbs up. And to hear Greg and my conversation that we had on the 10-Minute Marvel podcast this past episode for Daredevil Born Again, as well as for the She-Hulk rumor, check out the 10-Minute Marvel podcast. You can find that here on YouTube. Click onto the channel. Subscribe if you haven't already. We appreciate everybody who has subscribed and who is checking out these videos. And then click that notification bell to know when a new video comes out. Follow that up by clicking on the podcast tab and checking out the podcast there. Or you can search for 10-Minute Marvel wherever you get your friendly neighborhood podcasts from. But with that, we'll see you next time.